Welcome back, APCSA students. In this video, I'm just going to walk through the Tracing Static Method 0 worksheet. This is the first worksheet on looking at adding methods to our class. So I think it can be quite overwhelming. We're used to just having a main method and doing some basic math, and now we're going to be adding all these other methods to our program. And so getting used to having other methods and to how they get called takes some time. So I traced this in class. So what I'm going to do for the video is I'm going to copy this into JGrasp and show how you can use the debugger to step through, and that'll also help you visually see how things get executed. So I'm going to Control C this, copy this, and I'm going to go into JGrasp and File, New, Java, and I'm going to paste it, and it's going to look really gross. I'm going to go ahead and just hit compile and hit save, and there's the name I want, and it's in this folder. That's where I want it. So I'll hit save, and I get all kinds of compiler error messages, and I see here it's saying semicolon expected, but I have a semicolon. So let me check these parentheses. And it turns out this line had an extra parenthesis, so I'm going to take that off. Let's see if I can compile it now. And now it's pointing at these quotes. You can see the pointer right here. Illegal character. So for some reason some of these quotes get copied incorrectly. So I'm going to retype it so Java can recognize it. And I need to so now I can see that I'm getting a string literal, so this one should also be green. So I'm going to retype those two quotes, hit compile again. I've got a clean compile. I'm going to type the F2 or this button right here, and then Shift F2 will do that button, and I've got my nice indents. And I might even add some spaces. We had a little bit more spacing on the worksheet. So just to start seeing these separate containers we have, these separate methods. So I've got some comments in here to try and help you visually start seeing them. The curly braces are really important. So you'll notice here the main method opens and closes before the next method begins. So remember, you can hover over curly braces to see a match, and these are all stacked on top of one another. So you want to get used to that, because if you have one misplaced curly brace, so right now this one, the match is way down below, and if I go to compile, it's going to freak out. Look at all that freaking out it did. That's a lot of freaking out for one curly brace. So it does at least the first error, wherever, well, I don't even know where the first error went. Doesn't matter. So, oh, there it is. It's kind of pointing, but not quite telling you about the curly brace. So anyway, watch your curly braces. So what I want to show you is, again, how to use the debugger. So we're going to be clicking the ladybug. If I just click the ladybug on its own, I don't see anything, right? It just runs through the program and I didn't see anything. So a trick with the debugger is that you want to set that stop sign in this margin so that when I debug, it stops, and it brings up all the debugging tools when it stops. So remember, you can always go back to your browse window here, and now I have a debug tab. So the debug tab opens up, and it's going to show me the methods as I go into them and the variables within the methods. So here's the main, and these are the variables in the main methods right now. There aren't really any yet. These have to do with the arguments that were passed, and we didn't pass anything. So remember, we want to use this angle so that we will step into the method. And you'll notice mine is going automatically. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So let me just end this, because I want to step through manually, and then I'll show you how to step through with the, let's see if this will work now. me turn that off. Did I turn it off? There we go. So I know in the automatic, if I click this and I see the delay, that's how I know it's going to step through automatically. So I'm going to turn that off, and I'm going to step through manually so that we can talk a little bit. So here's the display, and I'm in main, and this is the first thing that's going to execute. So I hit this, and I go into the display method, and you can see that the display method showed up here, and main is still waiting there. And then as I step through, you can see that I get the print. So remember, this is the line with the arrow, the line that's gonna be executed. It hasn't executed yet. So when I hit this again, you're gonna see display go away because that's gonna be the end of the display method. And now I'm back up here in main getting ready to execute display again. So we can click the angle, step in. I've stepped into the display method, I print again, I hit the end, and I come back to main again. So notice I'm about to make a new variable, and we're going to see that variable show up here for the main method. So there you go, there's that num variable, and now I'm going to step into subtract2 method. And you will notice that subtract2 has a num that gets a value of 3. And if I go to main, it has a num that has a value of 3. So I'll step through the subtract2. I've got the answer variable now created. It has a 1 in it. And when I return it, I'm going to return that value back to here. I haven't printed yet. This is now holding that value, and then I'm going to print that 1. I'm going to repeat that process again. Notice num in main is still 3. Going to repeat that process again, return a 1, and print that 1. So I'm getting that output down here. Now I'm going to pass that 3, and again, get a 1 sent back. But this time that 1's going to be stored in num, so I'm going to see the num variable in main be changed from a 3 to a 1. And you can see there it's highlighted in red. And it didn't print it yet. It's going to take that 1 and pass it to subtract2 again. Subtract, get a -1, and now I'm going to print that -1. We make a new variable called mystery. You can see it here. And I'm going to pass that to I'm going to do num minus mystery and pass that to add 10. So that's going to pass in a -11 to add 10. And so as soon as we go into add 10 here, you'll see that the num variable in add 10 has a -11 that got passed. And if I click this main here, I can see that num in main is still 1. It's still fine, so it's a separate variable. So lots of variables there. I'm going to change num within the add 10 method. So you see it gets multiplied by 10. Main's num is still unchanged. I'm going to step through. This takes me up to subtract2. I'm going to subtract 2 and send it back. So these are the variables for subtract2. Add 10 has not changed yet. It's going to get this value sent back, and it's about to be assigned to that value. So there we see it got changed. Then we're going to return that. We're going to do some math. We're going to add it to num times 2 and store it in mystery here. Then I'm going to take that mystery variable, and I know mystery is a variable because it doesn't have any parentheses after it. And what I mean is an open-close parenthesis, right? It's inside some parentheses. So I'm going to step in and do that add 2 again, do all this math where it runs up to subtract 2. All these variables get made again, get changed again, and sent back. And finally, that value that got sent back is going to be printed, displayed. And notice that mystery in main is still -110. This is merely the value that got sent back from this method call that got printed. But this value didn't get stored anywhere. So I'm about to hit the end of main, so I'm going to see all this go away. And that's when main goes away as well. So remember, you can go back to browse, And this time I'll just show you, I'm going to clear my output and I'm going to start the debugger again at the stop sign. And this time we're going to click this button. If you don't see this button here, it might be over here. I thought I clicked that before. So what you want to see is this if you want to step through automatically. You want to see this delay, and it might even be at, I think the default's 0.5. So I set it to 1, so I'm just going to click this and it's going to step through automatically with a 1-second delay, which is kind of fun to watch. So I'm clicking nothing and it's stepping through and it's showing me all this bouncing around and executing and creating variables. So everything I was doing manually before, it's going to go through automatically, which is a nice feature to get used to all the bouncing around we do with methods. The reason we do methods so early is I find students do better. Just you're going to see these all year, and you're not going to have to relearn much more about methods. You'll learn a little bit more when we do objects, but the basic idea of methods don't change no matter what language, whether they're functions or procedures. And so getting used to it and having enough time for it to soak in, I just find students get more comfortable with it. So remember, your goal is to get comfortable with seeing the stacks of methods, get comfortable with pulling out the method names from the method headers. So here's my whole entire method, and right here is the method header. So here's the name of the method, subtract2 if I want to call it. I call it by name. Here's the input to that method. I need to pass an integer to it. It doesn't matter what my integer is called. And this method's going to send an integer back. So getting used to all those pieces will certainly get you, that's the goal at this point anyways, pulling out the method calls, the method definitions, and all those pieces, getting comfortable with that. So also on the course materials, there is a key to the back of the worksheet. So you can go there and see the key to the back of the worksheet as well. So make sure you type in and you practice with the debugger yourself. You'll get more comfortable the more you practice. And just keep trying and keep at it and keep asking for help, and have some fun coding.